Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Grow Your Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. This is a TV show from the Ladies Power Lounge, and we're so happy to be hosted and invited by the Win-Win Women Network. We're really, really happy to be here. So guess what, guys? You're probably wondering, what's this show all about? If you're tuning in for the first time, you're wondering, is this show even for me? Well, here's the deal. This show is for you if you are a heart-centered woman in business and you want to get more tools and tricks and ideas for how to grow your business in a smarter way. Because who wants to work harder? Only nobody. And frankly, if you check in on the heart-centered entrepreneur, she's probably the most hardworking person on the planet. Many of us, we left our 9-to-5 job and we've turned it into a 24/7 business of operation, doing this work that we do with our clients. So it's not going to be about working harder. That's not what's going to get us the income, the impact, and the abundance, the time freedom that we thought we were going to get the day that we decided that we were going to go into our own business and share our message with the world. And so I have this really fortunate position of being able to call on my besties, some of the best inspirational, most motivational minds in this business of entrepreneurship. I can reach out to them and say, hey, can you come on my show? Come share your reasons why you're successful with our audience so that they can light up in a way that they might not have lit up before. Words, guys, it's early. We air early in the morning, so sometimes I might trip over those words. It's fine. You want to light your people up. When your people, the people who are losing sleep at night because they need that work that you do, when they light up from working with you, then they get to light up their people, and their people light up their people, and on it goes in an exponential way. And so that work that you do is so important, and we're excited to be able to support you with this TV show. Thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. We are so happy you're here. Today on the show, our special guest is Shawniel Chamanlal. She is a psychotherapist and she is a manifestation coach, guru, expert. We all have heard about manifestation and how we want to think positive thoughts and that sort of thing. But there's certain steps that we need to take in order to make this a reality. And Shawniel has gone through some pretty tough times. She has lost a family member who's dear to her. All of this happened when we were having COVID. And of course, she had just had a baby. And in the midst of all of that, she was still able to grow her business, and not just grow her business to financial success, which we all dream of, but also to grow this environment for her staff to have a beautiful experience, and also for the people who come in to get the work that they do to have a beautiful experience as well. I don't off, well, we host a summit every 6 months. We host a summit with the Ladies Power Lunch. And by the way, our summit, our fall summit is coming up. It's called Ignite Your Leadership. And Shawniel is going to be one of our presenters, one of our workshop facilitators on our summit. And I don't often ask people, hey, will you be on my summit? But I saw Shawniel speaking. She did a workshop at an event that I went to. And I had to go up to her after the event and say, hey girl, hey, will you be on our summit? Will you come on my TV show? Will you participate as part of our next Ladies Power Lunch anthology? I am so pleased. I am so absolutely delighted to share with you, everybody, Shawniel Chamanlal. Shawniel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Davia, and thank you for that amazing intro. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad you're here. I just want you to, in your own words, can you share with everybody, who are you and what's that wonderful thing that you're doing in the world?
Well, so again, my name is Shawniel, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a life coach and a speaker. And on top of that, I own an amazing, thriving wellness center called Healing Springs Wellness Center, where we have 10 clinicians that really create an impact in the community by providing mental health counseling, nutrition, and holistic wellness services. So we're located in Connecticut. And I'm so proud of my team. That is something that I've been manifesting for a long time. And to see it into fruition and seeing the impact that we have on our community is just, it just overfills my heart.
That's beautiful. How did you get to this point, Shawniel? What made you decide that, you know what, this is the area that I'm going to focus on? What's your why?
So I felt like I've always had this undeniable knowing that I wanted to create an impact in the world, and on a large scale. I just didn't know what it was, but I went to grad school and for my social work degree. And during that time, I heard a lot of social work teachers and professors talking about you're not in it for the income. They really had a very scarcity mindset when it came to like social work. And I was the opposite. I'm like, I didn't even know what manifesting was at that time, but I was like, I'm in it for the outcome and the income, and I'm going to create something great. And I told my colleagues, my peers at that time, I'm not just going to work in agency. I'm going to have a whole practice, and we're going to have an impact all over the world. And everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And I have the confidence to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I end up finding, this is how the law of attraction worked. I kept on saying, I'm a rich social worker. I'm a rich social worker. And I met Eva, who created this rich social work movement. And so she helped social workers to not only think about the traditional trajectory of having a career, but how to build your own business. And so I found a community of like-minded individuals that wanted to expand out and not just work in the hospital or work in the agency, which I did for Stepping Stone, but I learned the business model of how to grow your business through the rich social work movement through EVA. And that just catapulted everything. And through my own personal story, I had a broken engagement when I was like 23. And that really turned the mirror on myself and my limiting beliefs and patterns. And I remember saying to myself, I want to manifest, I want to attract my life partner. And that was the biggest thing I've ever had to manifest. And it really just shook me to my core. And it was like that spiritual awakening of like just seeing the world in a different, in a different pair of eyes. And I remember saying to myself, I want to do this for women. I want to give them the opportunity to create healthy, fulfilling relationships and to unapologetically have an amazing life. And that's where it all started. Between those two things, grad school and finding the love of my life. We've been together for 11 years.
So it's interesting that you mentioned that. I love, by the way, that you were able to break out of that, what you term scarcity mindset, which was actually being indoctrinated to you in that impressionable stage of life when you're in school.
Mhm.
So you realize that you were being taught and told that, hey, you're not going to have any money. So forget that idea. One of the things that is meaningful for me about that is that I say this all the time on this show, and pretty much I am a broken record. If you wake me up in the middle of the night, I'll probably say the same thing. But I try to express to our entrepreneurs who are part of our group, who say to me, well, I'm doing this work and I love it, and it's not about the money. I try to remind them that actually, yes, it is. Because for three reasons. One, when you are in a stage where you are worried about how you're going to pay your taxes, or worried about how your next bill is going to be paid, your energy levels are lower than they need to be. And so your level of creativity is not going to be at its best. You're actually not going to be able to give your clients the best work that you can possibly do, because your attention is divided. You're focused on surviving. You're
Yes.
not in that space of thriving. So that's the thing one. And then thing two, which is so important to me, is one of my favorite mentors, Lisa Nichols. She talks about giving from your saucer. She says, don't give from your cup, give from your saucer, give from your overflow. When you are in abundance, then that I was talking to somebody yesterday who the charity that she loves to support is the charity that supports baby animals, baby
Oh,
elephants. Look, guys, I love animals just as much as the next guy, but I am not necessarily going to be the world's biggest advocate for baby elephants. Okay. But somebody needs to be standing up for them. And
yes.
guess what? If that's your passion, if that's what you truly believe in, and you have that financial wherewithal to do that, then you can run with that, and baby elephants everywhere will be happy that you were making it about the money, honey. And then my third piece is this: giving back, being able to offer mentorship and scholarship for the next generation of you, the next Shawniel, or the next Oprah, or the next Brené Brown, or the next, I don't know, the next
I
Dr.
mean, I love
Davia.
that you put me in those categories. That's amazing. That's
Yes,
where I want to be.
but this is the category that you are in. And in order to be able to be in a position to actually offer these mentorship positions, you cannot be in struggle.
Exactly. 100%. Even with, I do private practice consultation for therapists that want to either get into like private practice full time or transition into like group practice and have a team. And we do run numbers because they say, I feel like I should charge this. And I'm like, we have to balance, the heart and also logic, right? So really helping them to see, if you charge this, will you be in that survival mode? And there's one person that I crunched numbers and she was in a deficit. And I said, we can't do this. And we're able to reframe and show her that if she fills up her own cup, if she's flourishing, then she'll be providing great care and living her best life. So she was able to shift that once she saw the numbers. So I completely understand what you're saying. And they don't teach these things in social work school. They don't teach the business aspect. They don't teach the abundance mindset. So you have to do a lot of learning on your own, and you have to have that inner confidence in that community to really be able to have a thriving, successful business, especially in the wellness realm.
Well, that's a wonderful thing about you being here on this show, and also you being a mentor to the people that are a part of your practice and that collaborative leadership framework that you have built out, so that you can teach this kind of mindset to the people who are coming, who are going to be able to then teach it to their people,
Yes.
and on it goes until everybody gets it. Because what I know for sure in our practice is that if we are reasonable with our charging so that everybody wins, then there are going to be some people who might not be able to fit into that pricing structure, and we will be able to gift them with
Mhm.
and so everybody wins when we make sure that we fill our cup first and we give from our overflow. I love that so much. When I met you, oh my goodness, it's been quite a few years ago. When I met you, I was particularly intrigued because, you had this growing practice and it really, really seemed like it was going to be something to be reckoned with. And now looking back, it actually has happened. But while you were growing, you definitely had some growing pains. Can you share with us how really being focused on that, the principles of manifestation, how that helped you to keep growing, even though you were facing adversity?
Yeah, so I always say my definition of manifesting is it's really goal setting with the spiritual twist, right? So being able to have that faith that things will unfold as they should in divine timing. And so even though we're setting this goal and having this vision, when there are obstacles in your way, you will go back to your vision, you will go back to your why, and also just couple with that with amazing faith. When I met you, I had just moved back from Rhode Island because I was there for a couple of years. And my intention was to have a community of like-minded women. And so I found that at Ladies Power Lunch and eWomen Network. And so that seeing other people fulfilling their goals as well was very motivating in times of doubt. Again, that anchoring into my vision and my dream was important. The other thing was taking actionable steps towards my goal. So again, I know I talked about not wanting to be an agency, but I did a lot of like community agency programs, the hospital, to be able to learn the way. And then even working at a bank to learn some leadership skills. So taking those intentional steps because I knew the bigger vision would come. So even through adversity, even through my pause, even through acknowledging that I needed to take rest, that it gave me the endurance to keep on going. And that's so important. You have to like fill your cup up, have the community, and have the faith that things will unfold when they're supposed to. And I know a lot of people think my trajectory, everything seems so fast right now, but it's been years of strategy and having coaches and consultants and community that really has helped me. And now it's the right time. There's a lot of things unfolding.
Everybody knows this meme because we've seen it on social media so much, where you see like, this is the way we think the path of the entrepreneur goes, and it's a nice straight path, but this is the way that it really goes, and it's all twists and turns, falling into the gully, getting back up, and finally making it to a destination and keeping growing as
Keep on going.
yeah.
And the entrepreneur life is like a roller coaster. One minute you're celebrating a win and then something happens. And again, really being able to anchor into that. I have a couple entrepreneur besties that I call and I'm like, girl, we need to go out because I just need a day. A day
And that's
recharge.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great because you have community
Mhm.
and you take time for self-care, you take
Yes.
time for downtime. And we talk on this show about growing your business smarter, but the other piece is living your optimal life. And that requires that you take into consideration taking care of you and taking care of yourself. As a therapist, Shawniel, what advice do you have for us when it comes to, I hate using that word balance, but when it comes to finding alignment with your work life and your business life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I feel as though with being able to prioritize self, I think prioritizing self in your relationships and your business is important. And what that looks like is being able to rest and recharge, to be able to have passions outside of your business, and being able to, you know, I don't like some people, I know a lot of my entrepreneur friends have their faith, their spirituality. So that really keeps them grounded. And really being mindful in the moment. Sometimes we can really be future focused or in the past of like, I should have, could have, but being in the moment and really noticing what is happening right now, having gratitude for all the things that are unfolding, because a lot of the things that you wish for are happening right now, right? So really being able to anchor in that. So I would say that is like the most important. And if you find yourself feeling out of alignment, not passionate about what you're doing, then recalibrate, really think about, is this what I need? Do I need a break? Or is it something that I'm still passionate about? It is okay to pivot, especially in business. Sometimes we have to pivot or sometimes we have to pause, and that's okay too. So being able to acknowledge that as well.
While you have been sharing with us, Shawniel, I've been scribbling my notes really, really fast because you're just like fire hosing these amazing, amazing tips at us. You're saying that we need to prioritize ourselves. We need to have passions outside of our business. You heard it here first, guys. You kind of do have to have something going on outside. You mentioned faith and spirituality, and I feel like having that touchstone is always so, so essential. Being mindful in the moment, gratitude, and then you talk about the fact that it's okay to pivot or pause and that we have to make time to recalibrate. I love those. I'm going to put those as 5 of your must-dos for making sure that we're paying attention to our self-care. How about some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to manifesting that life, that business that we want, even in times of adversity?
Well, I would say the first step is setting the intention. You have to be, set that intention and be clear of what you want, especially in your business. That is so important. The other step is really being able to pay attention to your mindset. When you think about your business, when you think about your team, your revenue, how does it feel when you say it to yourself, right? Do you find that you're feeling any feedback in your body? Sometimes it can be doubts, a feeling, a pit in your stomach. Pay attention to those things, right? Really explore those things because there might be blocks or worries that might be coming up. And if it's excitement, capitalize on that, right? Because when you're in alignment and that those good feelings are flowing, really anchor into that because that's going to increase your vibration. The other thing is take actionable steps because I heard, like in the beginning, I thought I'm going to say it and it's just going to magically appear. And it's going to just fall into my lap.
We all heard that, Shawniel. You're not alone.
And some things do fall into your lap. And I'm like, yes, with ease, I manifest with ease. But some things, especially the bigger goals, the bigger dreams, they do take a lot of action. And it doesn't mean, and this is a don't, desperation or trying to force it, right? It's just breaking down your goals into smaller steps. Like, what are the expectations? How do I do that? Am I sharing my vision and my dreams with my community? Because sometimes your community, there's someone there that might help you to make those dreams into reality. I remember when I wanted to speak at eWomen, you, Dr. Davia, Gina Johnson, there's a couple of people that were just plugging my name. And I'm like, look at that. My community's working for me. So when that dream manifested, I'm like, that is amazing, right? So really being able to do that. Another don't, I would say, is don't force it, right? Just surrender the outcome. Once you have the vision, you're taking steps, you have the faith, right? Just allow things to unfold because sometimes our time is different than God's time, right? So, and I always say when I try to force it, I'm limiting myself, right? Because my vision may be smaller than what God thinks it is, right? And I've learned that with even just manifesting our dream home this year. I wanted to force it and just say, take whatever we get. And my husband told me to slow down, and we got our dream home, and it's like 3 times the size of our condo. And I would never have imagined that we would be in like this amazing home. So sometimes we do have to slow down and just surrender the outcome.
I love those. Those are so, so beautiful. And I feel like it leads right into us pulling our card for today. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, every single show that we have, we pull a card, and they're just cards for inspiration. They're just a nice little way to have a thought for the day, or maybe a thought that can take us through the week, something that we can use as an anchor for grounding. Now, I have been pulling from the same card deck for pretty much a while now for our shows, and one of our best besties who loves to watch our show, wouldn't you know, I'm sitting at my house, sitting by my pool on Sunday, and I got a text that there was an Amazon package delivered. I didn't order anything from Amazon, and wouldn't you know, one of our viewers sent us a brand new card deck for us.
Oh, that's amazing.
This one is called The Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reed. And I generally pull the card just before we get on air. And you won't believe this, Shawniel, but I feel like it's the best card that we could have pulled for today. It's called The Gentle Gardener. Very pretty card. And it says, be your own person, be a conscious co-creator. The gentle gardener is visiting you at this moment in your life to remind you that your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs create the reality you experience. She is the embodiment of the energy within you that is sent out into the field of co-creation and ensures that all that you are is reflected in the world of form. Are you aware of your thoughts? What is their quality? Believe in limitless possibility, and you will see miracles unfold. I mean,
I love that. That's just so perfect.
how much more perfect of a card could I have pulled today? What is that evoking for you, Shawniel?
I just feel like it's just the abundance mindset, really being able to create that mindset of unlimited opportunities and resources, right? That, and having the confidence that you can get it, right? So you're cultivating that and really sending those thoughts out there into the world, right, to be manifested. So I completely love that. And it resonated with me because when I was first learning about The Secret, I would get a little paranoid with my thoughts. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't think negatively. Oh, it's good. Like I would just get so nervous. And what I learned over time is that it's just an awareness, right? Like, so if you're having negative thoughts, it's feedback, right? So you stop and say, what is it trying to teach me? What do I need to do for my own healing? Or maybe I need some support or being grounded, right? So it's not that the negative thoughts are going to really mirror right back, but it gives us the feedback. But when we ignore it, that's when they get a little bit louder. So really, I really love that, being able to shift your mindset and create that abundance mindset.
Shawniel, if people are to take one thing from our conversation today, what would you want that thing to be?
I would say that you are deserving of all that you want. So really being able to dream big, right? There's no limit. Dream big and really have a community of people that will support those dreams. Align yourself with that. So that would be my biggest takeaway.
Dream big and align yourself with community. And of course, if you're looking for community, I will always recommend going to the Ladies Power Lunch community, which is our community. If you are looking for us, we're at growsmarternotharder.com/Facebook, and it's completely free to join. But what you'll find there are heart-centered entrepreneurs who want to collaborate and who want to make a difference. Shawniel, how can people find you?
So you can find me at my website, shawnielchamanlal.com. So that's my main website. And speaking of community, I will be having a manifesting circle for women starting in October. So again, aligning yourself with women that are dreaming big and using the law of attraction and manifesting tools to really support those big dreams and hold you accountable. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Shawniel Chamanlal. That's my tag name. I don't know if you need me to spell it or if you'll put it later.
Yeah, I think we'll find a way to find you, because definitely what you teach and just the experience that you have backing up what you have done, the fact that you're able to be a testament to the fact that it doesn't always go smoothly. It's not always smooth sailing, but even in the midst of things not going exactly the way that you want, you can still have that business growth. You can still grow your business smarter. You can still live your optimal life. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you next week. We have another great guest joining us to talk to us about growing our business smarter, living our optimal lives. I want to say thank you to you, Shawniel, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's switch gears, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and make us a gallery. And so this will be an opportunity for anybody who has questions for Shawniel to feel free to go ahead and unmute, turn on your cameras. We can have some real lively discussion. If you're just tuning in, if you're just joining us, I would love to offer you the opportunity, Shawniel, to introduce yourself again. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on the Ladies Power Lunch Show. Shawniel is our special guest today. She's a therapist and she's also a really, really amazing motivational coach. And she's here to talk to us today about how even in adversity, even in times when it doesn't look all that great, we can still have abundance, we can still grow our businesses, we can still see the results that we're looking for in our lives. Shawniel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And will you share with everybody who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you, Dr. Davia, for having me. I am Shawniel. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. Like you said, a motivational speaker and coach, and the founder of an amazing, thriving practice called Healing Springs Wellness, where we offer mental health counseling, nutrition, and holistic wellness services. So we have an amazing team of 10 therapists, and we're still growing. So our impact is just amazing in the community.
And Shawniel, you've manifested this outstanding practice. You had this dream. It was born at a time for you, perhaps when things weren't going that well. And even over the last few years, you've had a lot of things show up in your life that weren't the best. I mean, you lost a really, really dear family member. At the same time, you were having your baby, and we were right in the middle of COVID. It was a lot going on, but you were still able to rise above all that and to create this beautiful, amazing practice, not only financially thriving, but also bringing together amazing therapists, amazing healthcare providers to support your community. Can you share with us what's the key to really growing even when things aren't going well?
Well, I think it goes back to your why and your vision. One of the things that, like, when you were talking, I remember in grad school doing I think it was my second vision board. And I remember finding a picture of like a therapist standing at the door, and she had a line of people wrapped around. And I remember putting my last name and saying it was my practice, and that's what I would have. And, 10 years later, look at this. The calls are just coming in, and we just keep on attracting amazing clinicians to support the vision. So just going back to that why and that undeniable knowing. I did lose my mom around the time that I was starting to grow the business and hire. And I would say that she's always been my cheerleader. She has taught me to be confident and was just the person that said, I believe in you no matter what you do. So losing her, right in the midst of starting this business was hard, but I anchor into the fact that she is still divinely guiding me, and is still my cheerleader in heaven. So through adversity, I still go back to that. Like, I know I'm here to leave an impact in the world and really help people grow.
I love that. You talk a little bit about the things that you need to do to prioritize your self-care in order to achieve the growth markers that you're looking to achieve. And you mentioned that one, you have to prioritize yourself. A lot of people might look at that and think of that as being selfish. Can you make that distinction for us? Help us to understand what it really means to prioritize yourself.
Yeah, I mean, this may sound cliche, but they always give that, like the example of being on the airplane and having to put your oxygen on first, right? And then you put on your loved ones. And it's so important because if you're run down, if you're burnt out, there's no way that you can pour into other people. There is no way that you will pour into your passion, right? So self-care isn't just painting your nails and taking a bubble bath, but it's really taking those intentional steps for your health, for your spirituality, and to cultivate your relationships, right? So that's so important. And I have been in a lot of different workplaces where I have seen people burnt out in different industries, especially mental health. And they're no good for themselves and they're no good for others, right? So even at my practice at Healing Springs, that is in the forefront of our values. Our therapists, it's like a safe haven here to be able to take care of yourself because I know once you do that, you will pour back in to the community. And so that is a huge value. And that's why I attract a lot of therapists because they were on the brink of burnout and now they're here and they're thriving.
That's beautiful. You talked too about having passions outside of your business. And I know for me, a lot of the times I look at the clock and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still, I don't know, writing a chapter for my next book or doing something that is taking time away from the other things in my life, like my family and sleep. Tell us a little bit about why it's important to have passions outside of our business and why it's also important to have some kind of spiritual touchstone.
Mhm. The passions outside, I mean, I always said in the past life, I probably was like a travel agent. I dabbled a little bit in event planning. So I love organizing events. So I do that. Like I'll plan fun things, barbecues, little girls' getaways. And it just really just creates that excitement and something to look forward to. And I think of like a runner and that like endurance, right? Like you have to do things like to keep you going in your business. And so having that passion, excitement, and being able to like sometimes pause and put away the business for even if it's a couple hours to be able to attend to those things and your relationships. So that's like something that's important. And spirituality is important. I say for me, especially because that it cultivates that faith. It also helps you to like take pauses and get those divine downloads. I am a very intuitive person. And so sometimes like if I'm not quiet and still, if I just keep on going, I can definitely tell like I need to recalibrate. And I get my best ideas and I'm the most creative when I'm tapping into my spirituality, praying, having gratitude, meditating, like those things are so important to me. And I think it's very important for other people to cultivate that as well.
Those are outstanding recommendations, being mindful in the moment, tuning into gratitude, and being able to take time to recalibrate, rethink the thing that you're doing, and recognizing that it's okay to pivot or pause. You talk about do's and don'ts for growing through adversity. And one of the things that you mentioned is that we need to set intention for what we want. I truly believe that. I believe if you don't know what you want, if you don't spend the time going deep with it and having some quiet contemplation, knowing exactly what it is that you want, if you don't know, how will you know if you have achieved it? So, can you share a little bit about what that setting intention means for you and how you suggest we go about that?
I love what you said. Like, if we don't know, then how do we know that we achieved it? I think that's so important because in this world, in society, we are just going, going, going. And sometimes we do it mindlessly. And then there's a lot of comparison. Like, you want what the other person have, like you think that's good for you. So really being able to like set the intention of really evaluate what you want, why you're doing this, and what is the impact for you, will help you to kind of tease out all those things, all the like external things, right? Like being able to go in internally and just make sure that it's in alignment with you, because it's easy to just keep on, moving at a really fast pace, and you're just like, life has just passed me by, and it still is not providing me the satisfaction, right? So it's really important to set that intention, have the vision and those benchmarks. And that's where the gratitude comes in, because those pauses and reflecting and knowing what you have really does anchor you into that.
You talk a lot, Shawniel, about paying attention to mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's a broad topic, really, really broad. But when it comes to growing, even in difficult times, being a success in any kind of season, how does mindset play into all of that?
Mindset for me is really being able to like think about what are the quality of your thoughts. I encounter that a lot of people, especially women, say they want to dream big. Like they want to have $1 million, like it's usually the 6-figure buzz, revenue. And I ask them, so you want that? Yes, I deserve it. And then I'll say, okay, take a moment and like, do you truly believe that you can have it? And there's a pause and there's some doubt, right? And then they get the feedback in their body and they're like, oh my goodness, there's something there that's like where I'm questioning it, right? And a lot of people won't admit to that. And I think that's what we need to pay attention to is my mind and my body giving me feedback that might be like a limiting belief, might be trauma, right? Trauma comes up a lot, right? When you've experienced a lack or something that's happened in your life, and it creates a lot of doubt, low confidence, self-esteem issues, and that can impact your dreams. So really being able to tone into the quality of your thoughts and that feedback will help you to figure out what parts of you that needs to heal, because it's important to have that feedback.
Yes, I can totally see how that would make perfect sense. And then you talk about taking actionable steps. So share how that's important, and perhaps maybe even share your story about how taking actionable steps made a difference for you as you were going through difficult times.
Yes. So taking actionable steps is like huge when you have like this overarching goal, like especially if you're like, I want to start a business. And like, again, through the adversity, there's times that you may want to quit. That doubt might seep in. The naysayers will say that you can't do it or it's unrealistic, right? All those things come up. But breaking down that overarching goal to say, okay, I know today I need to, connect with a couple of businesses or coaches, to like make this dream come true. So really breaking down that big overarching goal into smaller steps. Sometimes that's like by quarter, could be by month. I'm looking at my vision board right now, and it's a monthly vision board that I've created to like have a visual of my goals that I'm achieving for the month. So things to kind of reinforce those things and keep us on track, because it can become very overwhelming, and doubt, procrastination, all those things may come in. Taking actionable steps means also, who do I need in my corner to get me to the next level? I say that I would not be able to be here right now without having coaches and consultants that have done it, right? And can kind of give the shortcuts and hold me accountable, to really be able to, create the bigger vision. So it's really being able to look at everything and break it down, check those boxes when you complete it. And it kind of gives you a little bit of pause too, like where you're like, okay, I've achieved X, Y, and Z. Maybe I can pause. Maybe I can enjoy, what I've already created. I like to pull cards too. And that's where what I've been pulling lately is like, you work so hard. Now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? So it's like being able to reflect back on those goals I've checked off and being able to take those intentional pauses as well.
I love that. I love that. And you mentioned don't force it, surrender to the outcome, allow things to unfold in divine timing, because forcing things results in limiting things. Say a little bit more about that.
Yes. So I will talk about my love relationship. So when I finally decided that I wanted to meet my partner, and I see this a lot with ladies as well, I was like, I set the intention and I made my list and everything. And then I was out everywhere. I'd be in the clubs and I'm like, is that my partner? Is that person? I was just like, not enjoying the moment and I was just forcing it, and there are times that there were people that had red flags and I was kind of blinded by that because I was forcing, finding this partner. So I made the decision to just surrender. I'm like, you know what? When it's time, it will happen. And I found myself starting to enjoy the dates, enjoy being out, enjoy being single, enjoy my healing journey. And I have to say, it didn't last that long because within like 2 months of surrendering, I found my life partner, and now we've been together for 11 years and our wedding anniversary is coming up the beginning of the month, will be 5 years. So I've learned that the hard way dating, and I've used that technique to just kind of allow, like I did all the steps that I need to and not have that desperation energy, because that desperation energy will make you feel overwhelmed, frustrated. So you want to just be able to just allow, right? Because sometimes the plan that you think is there, and that vision, like I said, God, universe, it's bigger, it's better, right? So let's just surrender and let all the things line up.
I love that you qualify your previous recommendation of taking actionable steps with also allowing things to unfold, because some of us could get caught up in that idea. Okay, I got to make it happen. I got to push. I got to just do it. There is that sort of mentality and energy that's generally permeating the world. And I love, love, love that you recommend, yes, taking action steps, yes, biting off just a little bit at a time and not getting overwhelmed by the large vision that you have, but being able to break it down into, okay, we're going to do this first, we're going to do this second. I have never met a spreadsheet that I don't love. Like I love step-by-step method. Like I make lists, I do all the things. So this totally resonates with me. But I love that you challenge us to make sure that even though we are taking action, that we're taking action in a divine way and we're allowing divine to guide and just stepping back and seeing what's showing up. I love to tell people all the time, I sometimes feel like I just want to pull out my popcorn and just watch. This movie is my life, because a lot of the times I could not make this stuff up. It's crazy how things happen.
Yeah. And I think once you get like, I call it like building that manifesting muscle. Like once you like are feeling confident and knowing like, yeah, this will happen, like things start to come with more ease, right? Things that you're just like, oh, I didn't even have to work that hard for that, right? It's just like being able to like manifest with ease, right? So it's really building that muscle and really being like, it's going to happen. And if it's not going to happen, then it wasn't for me. So that's how I surrender it lately. Even with my office space, we're having our grand opening. We're going into a bigger office. And I remember loving the space. I didn't love one part of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it. Like, I need an office downstairs too. He's not offering that. I'm just going to leave it. A week later, comes back and was like, oh, a space opened up downstairs. And I was like, see, if it was supposed to be for me, it'll come back. And it sure did. So, right. So I'm at that point, like, if it's not for me, then whatever. But if it is, it'll come back, or will happen. So that's my new mindset.
I absolutely adore that. That's so interesting. You are one of our presenters, one of our workshop presenters on our upcoming Ladies Power Lunch Fall Summit. For those of you who are not as tuned in to Ladies Power Lunch is a free movement for women who really believe in this idea that when we support each other, everybody wins. So it's a group of women who are just there saying, hey, how can I support you? How can I help you grow your business? But when everybody's saying that, then guess what? Everybody grows. It's sort of that rising tide lifting all boats scenario. So Ladies Power Lunch, twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, we host a summit. And that's an opportunity for us to all get together in the room and in the virtual room, because we're in person and live stream, and we just raise our vibrations. I tell people all the time, we could just get together and have no content prepared, and everybody would leave making more money because our vibrations would be so wonderfully, lifted. But the truth is, we do prepare amazing content. And one of our outstanding facilitators is going to be Shawniel. She's also a contributor in the anthology that we're launching alongside our summit. Shawniel, why did you say yes to being a part of this upcoming production?
Well, one, you just described it, just having like high vibing women leaders. And I just thought this was just in alignment. And I just love the hierarchy model of like being able to like lead in a heart-centered way, and your team being on the same level as you. And I think that's so important. And that's something that I cultivate in my team. Like, we're all going to grow together. We're all going to be successful together. And we're creating the space that we, in this relationship, where we can share even in the hardest times, right? So I just love what, this anthology is about, and also the summit, and just being able to learn from these amazing leaders. It's so important to seeing that shift, because I think people want more of that. They want more of that collaboration and creating that impact and the support. And that is definitely why we are successful in hiring, and why we continue to grow at Healing Springs.
So Shawniel, you're talking about this collaborative leading, this being the boss in a totally different way from the way that most of us learned leadership would look. Can you explain to us why that works so well for your practice, and how that has contributed to the way that you've been able to grow?
Yeah. So again, I know firsthand what it feels like to be burnt out. I also know firsthand how it feels to be micromanaged in a job and not appreciated. And I've always said to myself, that is not the leader that I want to be. So when I was creating the vision of Healing Springs, and creating the vision of what my team would look like, it would be to create a safe haven for therapists to be able to like thrive, have the self-care, and be passionate about who they serve. And so whenever a therapist or a wellness professional comes onto the team, I ask them, who are you most passionate with working with? Who do you want to work with? What's your ideal client? They get taken back. They're like, what? I have a choice? Because in agency, you get what you get. And I asked them, what do you want your schedule to be with? Like, what do you want your schedule to be? So that allows for room for you to have a life outside the practice. And they get taken back by that too. So really being able to cultivate that and help them to have choice, because again, what you talked about, having the overflow really helps to like create that impact and client satisfaction. I always tell my therapists, you always heard customers always right. You put the customers right before anyone else. And I say, no, fill yourself up, put yourself first, and then, we will cultivate that in our clients. And that is just like a big shift. And everyone's so supportive. And we're a family. We go out, we have fun, we talk about our cases, and like even just have time dedicated to case presentations. And sometimes I don't even show up. I have like another social worker that does the group supervision so that they can have a space to vent and deal with whatever in a safe way. So just really cultivating that. And it's been really successful. And people talk about a hiring drought, and I'm like, I don't have a hiring drought. I had to pause my Indeed, Indeed, because we have such an abundance of like clinicians wanting that support.
I love that. What advice do you have for other entrepreneurs who want to invite team or who may already have team? What is your advice for practical advice for embracing this idea of collaborative leadership, hierarchy, as it's called, over the traditional hierarchical structure of leadership that we've become accustomed to?
Well, one of the things I would say is really get to know the people that are on your team or the people that you're leading, right? Understand their pain points, understand their passions, right? Really get to know them as a person, because that will cultivate a really good, solid foundation. I would also emphasize that you know yourself, you know your strengths and your growth areas as a leader, right? And being able to be like transparent, authentic in that. And I would say when you're marketing for your team, especially therapists, I would say really capitalize on those pain points in a way of like, we will help you to not feel burnout, whatever those pain points of the people that you're attracting, really speak to them. We talk about attracting our ideal clients, use the same technique to attract your ideal team members. That's really important. And what was the other question? I forgot.
Well, I love to give everybody homework. I love to give them something actionable, one thing that they can do, they can practice this week in their business that can help them to grow and scale and be better.
Mm-hmm. I would say take a pause. Pause, because I don't know about you, but since this pandemic has been going, people have been just going. And I'm like, we're in a pandemic, right? Or like maybe like in the middle of it now, but people are just going. I'm like, just pause and just think about where you're at. Think about that you survived this. Think about like how you've grown your business, and take a moment to think about where you want your business to go, right? Like being able to pause instead of always doing. We're always doing. So a pause is just nourishing to you and nourishing to your business.
But how do we pause, Shawniel? How?
That means being intentional, and like it could be, I have an accountability partner, and my accountability partner knows like when I start getting irritated, and I go like I love inner child work, but my entrepreneurial besties know if I'm like irritated, if I'm not texting her back like certain things, she's gonna call me and she's gonna be like, what is up? And I'm like, oh, I'm just so stressed out. And she'll say, let's go out to dinner. And I do the same thing with her. So having that accountability partner, but also the accountability for yourself. What is happening? What are you noticing in your body? What are you noticing? Are you feeling resentful about your business? Have you taken time to play? And if all those answers are no, then you need to like schedule that in your calendar. Or tell your entrepreneur besties to call you and say, let's go. Like tomorrow we're going to the spa. Like I'm pausing for the whole day and I am going to the spa in the Berkshires because I've been working for like 2 days nonstop. And I'm like, it's time to play and relax.
So you heard it here first, folks. You need to take over this next week, schedule it in, find a way. This is Shawniel's homework for you. Find a way to schedule it in and get some you time. Get some downtime, spend some time in quiet contemplation. If you need to go to the spa, that's fine. If it means going out in nature, One of the things that I have found useful is making a list of things that are fun.
Yeah,
And guess what, guys? I have to make a list of things that are fun because 2 babies later, I kind of forgot what's fun for me because everything that I was doing was all baby fun, all kid related. But what are the things that me, Davia, as a grown up, would
Mm,
appreciate if there were no kids in the picture? I had to actually sit with pen to paper. So now that I have this list, I can pull from it and say, okay, driving down, taking a day and just driving down to the shoreline and walking on the beach. That's actually fun for me.
I
Just
love
my
that.
shoes off and feeling my feet in the sand is really, really invigorating for me. It might be different for somebody else, but it means a whole lot for me. So that's your homework for this week, guys. Take some time for you and watch how just making those times in our schedules can really, really help us when it comes to manifesting the life that we want, manifesting the business that we want, even in times of adversity.
Yeah.
Shawniel, it's been a super pleasure having you on the show. How can people find you when they're looking for you?
You can find me on my website, ChawnielChamanlal.com, or social media. Shawniel Chamanlal is my Instagram handle, and also my Facebook.
Beautiful. And you have some wonderful things coming up that people are going to want to tune into you to check out. You're also going to be on our Ladies Power Lunch Fall Summit. You're one of the best-selling authors in our Ladies Power Lunch Fall Summit anthology called Ignite Your Leadership. You have so much amazing things going on. So I really want people to take the opportunity to tune into you. Thanks, Shawniel, for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I want to see you guys on the next show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.